I mean, this guy is the richest man in the world. Howdy, welcome back to another episode on the Wholesome Rave. If this is your first time, hit that like button. Don't forget to stay subscribed. We talk about anything that's trendy, anything that catches my interest. Let's explore a rather unusual topic, and this concerns a very personal aspect of Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who is a well-known billionaire and tech founder. I think I would like to add to that list a politician, because recently Elon has been super involved with a lot of political roles and assignment. Yeah, for those of you who have been noticing that should be like on the list of one of the things I think Elon has morphed into. But for those of you watching, have you guys ever wondered if there is any truth to this breeding theory? Elon Musk has long expressed his desires to have as many kids as possible. So I guess the real question to ask ourselves today is Elon Musk really the billionaire breeder that a lot of people tend to say he is? Or are we just looking at someone who is being targeted by all these pregnancy scams that has been like quite on the uprise? You guys know that this has become like a trend. We've seen this with a lot of like influencers, especially rappers and their baby mamas. They try to use this as a way to get child support and benefits from their partners. But that aside, we're not going to be discussing any of that in today's video. We're strictly going to focus on Elon and his breeder Kink. Elon, to me, I have personally fancied his intellect and most of his ideas surrounding tech solutions, but there is this transhumanism trend that I see on the internet, and this has created a lot of discussion around human genetic engineering. And that is something I think I should have a specific video for. But in case you don't know what transhumanism is, I'm going to read this out to you. Transhumanism is a philosophical and intellectual movement that aims to transform the human condition by developing and using advanced technologies to enhance human physical, cognitive, and emotional abilities. So you get what I'm saying. That is kind of the whole idea Elon has been preaching behind SpaceX and colonizing Mars. I'm gonna play this video for you where Elon basically talks about like his desires to have multiple children.
Understood situation.
Yeah.
Well, I think people we got to turn this around. We got to have at least replacement rate, if not more, on the baby front. And by the way, these are not matters that are subjective. You can just literally look at the birth rate.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's an objective number. Like how many babies were born. It's like they record this information.
One of the technological advancements of transhumanism that Elon has been focusing in recent years is the Neuralink project, where he aims to develop a brain machine that could potentially cure diseases and treat certain medical conditions. So Elon is a big fan of genetics engineering, and I would like to consider him to be a transhumanist. I think we live in a world where we are now experiencing a big shift, where a lot of people tend to prioritize the artificial methods of reproduction. Like in this day and age, we do have artificial wombs. Take for example like the IVF. This is a big aspect of like artificial reproduction. This portion of the health and wellness market that these companies focus on is in like genetic engineering and human DNA advancement. This is the world where we are now getting into. Most people now do not prioritize the traditional method of reproduction, and that is, the coitus method. That is like the most popular reproductive method. Let's talk about Elon's breeding kink. Personally, I haven't been a fan of Elon's parenting style. Elon's father has come on podcast to talk about Elon's parenting style and how he doesn't think that Elon is a good father. And even though he says this on a podcast, he also admits to he himself not being a good father to Elon. I mean, this guy Elon drove to his school every day with a Rolls Royce. Now, you guys should think about this. Elon's father got his stepsister pregnant. That in itself is not a good parenting skill set right there. And this is something Elon's father has openly talked about without shame or guilt. And I want you guys to remember this. The reason why I want you to remember this is because all of this, I mean, Elon's breeding Kink definitely has ties to his childhood and upbringing. Let's discuss the whole Ashley Sinclair drama. On Valentine's Day, Ashley Sinclair, who is a conservative influencer, recently announced that she was having Elon's 13th child. And this news took the whole internet by storm. But we have to admit that a lot of us were not surprised because Elon has never once admitted to not having any more kids. And she announced it by releasing this particular tweet. 5 months ago, I welcomed a new baby into the world. Elon Musk is the father. I have not previously disclosed this to protect our child's privacy and safety. But in recent days, it has become clear that the tabloid media intends to do so, regardless of the harm it will cause. I intend to allow our child to grow in a normal and safe environment. For that reason, I ask that the media honor our child's privacy and refrain from invasive reporting. These tweets released by Ashley got a lot of people digging into Ashley's past and wanting to know what she was all about, who this lady is, what her past looked like. And I think I wasn't the only one who found it kind of suspicious that she's posting this on Valentine's Day. To me, it just felt like, is this really about wanting to create a relationship between your child and Elon, or is this about you not being the chosen one? Because you guys, look at the date, Valentine's Day. So obviously, maybe there's something more to this. YouTube has got the detectives on here, people who would go to the far ends to find your past. Old tweets of Ashley resurfaced, and these tweets go as far back as 10 years ago, where she was basically replying to a guy called Grey Prince. And this is the tweet: I need to get Elon's attention for a marriage proposal. Please, Greg. And Greg replies by saying he's got a kid with a woman already. Seems unlikely to work out. And here's the kicker, guys. She goes on to reply, well, he's actually had 7 kids and goes through women pretty fast. I mean, why would she add that last part? Milo released this tweet where he said Ashley Sinclair plotted for half a decade to, I don't know what this word is. To that tweet, Elon replied saying, whoa. And this has been the only response we've gotten from Elon since this announcement. So I'm guessing he's just as surprised to find out that his baby mama happened to be talking about getting with him 10 years prior. Yes, she managed to get herself a nice rich guy, a billionaire in fact, but getting yourself a billionaire is one thing. Having the billionaire to acknowledge you or being present in your life is another thing. In a New York Times post, Ashley had an interview with a reporter and she released a few pictures as proof to the existence of this relationship. She released this picture of Elon holding the baby, and she also released some text messages she exchanged between herself and Elon. I also did a lot of reading and came across a few articles where some people talked about the real reason why Elon Musk wanted to have more babies. It says people who complain about population aren't talking about numbers, they're fantasizing about tightening the reins on workers. So a lot of conspiracy theory around this one. There are a lot of people who believe that Elon's desire to have a large family is linked to his businesses. Some people believe that he is trying to create an empire of super intelligent kids who will carry on his legacy. But is this just some theory, or is there some truth to this? That is the question you guys need to answer for me in the comment section. And if this is your first time, hit that like button. Don't forget to stay subscribed. People believe that Ashley Sinclair did this purposely because she wanted to get Elon Musk hooked to her or connected to her in some way. I mean, the whole idea of being a baby mama to a billionaire sounds like the best thing, right? This is why I always tell you ladies to think about the consequences of having a child with a man who isn't fully committed to you. And I know some of you are gonna say, yeah, we go again, she's back to this, but you guys see this every day. Women getting left out, abandoned, and having to take full responsibility of having a child, when you guys are well aware of the fact that it takes two to tango. And these women didn't wake up one day and decided, oh, I'm gonna have a baby now, and magically had some. I mean, we have one example of that ever being recorded. That was Mary, the mother of Ja. But like, yeah, I don't believe that. But anyways, let's just forget about it. It doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. And there are more tweets around Ashley defending traditional women. Let me just say this. I am not in any way gonna comment on that. Ashley Sinclair did reply to that tweet by Elon responding to Milo. She replied to the tweet saying, Elon, we have been trying to communicate for the past several days and you have not responded. When are you going to reply to us instead of publicly responding to smears from an individual who posted photos of me in underwear at 15 years old? Ashley has had multiple versions of herself on the internet, with one of her very famous pseudonyms as being the sex laptop. So Ashley Sinclair also rebranded herself at some point. Here is a picture of Ashley from way back. I love big black, and I want a big black named Tyrant to destroy me. So basically, she has had multiple different personalities. I'm not saying Elon is an entirely unreasonable person, because we see him going out with his kids, sometimes being photographed out with his kids. And more recently, Elon took his youngest son to the Oval Office, and that was aired live on TV. So it doesn't mean that Elon is a bad man, but I don't think that he embodies the typical idea of a father figure being present. And I don't blame him for that, because he does have a lot of things that he is involved in with his businesses, politics, and all of that. And that is not an excuse for not being a present father. But these whole distorted versions of Elon we see every day definitely is a huge sign of his emotional unavailability. This is a man who has a clear record of not being able to hold down a relationship or being involved with a woman for long periods of time. And you decide for some weird reason that you are gonna be the one to finally make him change. A 53-year-old man with multiple kids. There is no way you think that you're gonna be the one to make that change. So Elon's breathing kink is definitely something we do not talk about enough. And some people, I just think this guy needs to get himself in check, because what do you mean that it's okay for you to keep having all these kids and not being there to perform your duties as a dad. And Elon has a long history of trying to engage with sexual activities, especially with his female workers. And this is from an article on an interview on one of these websites that I came across. So I'm going to read this to you. When Elon personally contacted a former SpaceX engineering intern to discuss a role on his executive staff in 2017, the woman spoke with excitement to her friends about a high-profile problem-solving role at the rocket company, a dream for someone a few years out of college. She and Musk had met years earlier during her internship when she was still in college. She'd approach him with ideas from improving SpaceX. Her outreach had led to a date, which led to a kiss and eventually sex, she told her friend. The year after her internship, the billionaire had a fresh college graduate flown out to a resort in Sicily before they ended things, according to the document reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Musk, who is more than 20 years her senior, attempted to restart their relationship, but she rejected his advance. They remained close as she tried to establish herself in a new job. This article released by the Wall Street Journal, an interview with Elon Musk, definitely gives us an insight to why Elon does have this mindset. Let's get into it. He says, if people don't have more children, civilization is going to crumble, proclaimed Elon. Musk spoke his truth at the Wall Street Journal event while hyping his proposed Tesla bot, an android that performs grunt work. Only a bot army, he said, can meet the corporate need for the laborers willing to work without rest, meals, or complaints. Human dignity is a drag on profits. But until the bots are up and running, Musk's Squid Game still needs fresh and blood workers. The fundamental constraint is labor, Musk said. There are not enough people. I can't emphasize this enough. So basically, Elon is going on this entire breeding spree simply because he thinks that there are not enough labor to do the work. And I'm guessing that is the most sickening mentality to have, because humans are not robots. Humans have emotions, and you cannot, even as a tech founder, be comparing human beings to bots, because we can never be on the same level. Like, we created this artificial intelligence, and as much as he thinks he can use that to control a large population of people, we aren't fools, because a lot of people are out there fighting against this. Here are some of the tweets that Elon went on to discuss. He said, humanity did not evolve to mourn the unborn, but we should. I'm talking about not having kids in the first place. That's the problem. So this guy has been advocating for having more population and people breeding as much as they can. Here's another tweet that confirms this. Contrary to what many think, the richer someone is, the fewer kids they have. I am a rare exception. Most people I know have 0 or 1 kid. Civilization sterilized. Past 2 years have been a demographic disaster. I mean, I am doing my part. Haha. This guy literally thinks he is solving a larger problem to the population demands by having more kids because he is financially able to. It's just crazy. Also puts out this graph comparing the US birth rate and how it has slowed down sustainably for over 50 years. I don't know why he is trying to convince us that we should have more kids, because clearly there are a lot of problems that comes with overpopulation. And as much as we think that these problems are being handled, there is a lack of, the right facilities being provided to us by the government. And there is just so many things that we need to do in order to make kids that are coming up in the future generation more comfortable. We've made progress in the last 20 years, but that is also not something that everyone can afford to do, which in some way is like he's saying the truth by admitting that a lot of these rich people don't have a lot of kids, and he, by basically having more kids, doesn't make him a better person. These people, these rich people choosing to have one or two kids, know why they are choosing to have one or two kids, because they know that it requires a lot of time and effort to give these kids the love that they desire, the love that is required to grow into a healthy person. And maybe that is the reason why they choose to have less kids. So having this whole entire idea doesn't mean you're qualified for the role, because being financially capable of having a lot of kids does not equate to being emotionally ready to give those children the love that they require. And when I mean love, I'm not talking about making sure that they have everything, money, nannies in this case. I'm talking about being a present father. I'm talking about being available for your kids, being there for them when they need you, and not being like super busy or super into your work life and just politics and just like your ideas. So that is the most important thing. One more thing I need to talk about is about another conservative influencer or politician. She tweeted this: "Ladies, it is possible to make your own money, have your own career, pay for your own swanky NYS apartment, New York apartment, and find a good man who loves you, wants to have and raise kids with you, and wants to be with you and only you. The only thing stopping you is your decision to settle for less." Guys, I don't know why this lady faced a lot of backlash, with this post gaining around 3.4 million views, and some people saying that she is talking about unrealistic standards that do not exist. But come to think of it, I don't see anything wrong personally with what she has just said, if it is truly in relation to the Ashley Clare and Elon's situation, because I really do think that as much as these criteria might seem impossible, they really do exist. And even though you might not get the swanky apartment, New York apartment, depending on your partner's financial capabilities, it is still possible to find a man that is willing to give you the love that you deserve. It is very, very, very sad to see that Ashley allowed herself to be put in that situation where she feels like she is going to finally be the one to get the attention, the full attention of Elon by, giving up her body to have his baby. And that is the sad reality. I don't see what is wrong with Meglin's post. I think this message is one that every lady needs to take with them and realize that the only thing that's keeping you where you are, feeling unsatisfied, is because you have chosen to be in that space. The moment you choose to remove yourself from being and staying and remaining in a space where you're getting so much less than you deserve, that is the moment you take back your power. So this is the takeaway from this entire video, and I think it's really nice that Megli did have this post go viral and a lot of women having opinions on it. I wanted to basically read the tweets under this, but because of the lack of time, I'm just gonna skip that. I'm not here to blame these women or trash talk them or make this like a sad post that's putting them down. I really, really think that this video serves as like a lesson to those people who are in these kinds of situations. It's time for us to realize that you don't have to give up all of yourself to a man just to get the love that you think you deserve. This is something that we should first seek within ourselves before looking for external validation. And in this case, Ashley did in fact make herself seem desperate in so many situations. Like, for example, when she commented under Elon's reply, I can't imagine how she must be feeling having to come online to demand attention from Elon for the sake of her child. That must be a really, really sad and difficult place to be in. And you can definitely pinpoint why she is in this position, because she has not thought this through, and clearly some of her decisions have backfired. So Elon hasn't provided any response yet, but I think it's safe to say that his silence does say a lot about this situation. It's one of two things. It's either he's refusing to comment because he thinks or knows that he is the father, or he's refusing to comment because he doesn't want to be involved. I guess the entire point of this video is to say sometimes it's important to hold on to your value regardless of some situations you find yourself in. We don't get everything in life. Sometimes we get a few things and sometimes we don't. So it's important to realize that your values is what makes you who you are. Your values is what makes life interesting. Let us try to adopt and think about the consequences of some of our action. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you did enjoy watching this, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to stay subscribed. Your subscription on this channel definitely helps with the growth, and it helps with algorithm to show this video to a lot more people. Do hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one.